2020s have been insane. The most insane decade in recent times. Life went from being decently optimistic to suddenly having to climb out of hell every day. Opening the decade with a pandemic that felt like the world was literally ending and was one of the biggest events in human history probably had a slight impact on the vibe and events in this decade so far. The pandemic caused our ways of life to change, and many of the effects of COVID are still only starting to show today. And all of these events have been perfectly timed to ruin my life specifically. I am literally being targeted by the government and natural forces. It's like Final Destination, but with major inconveniences instead of death. But seriously, Gen Z and younger millennials were born at the worst time to be affected by these events, having our young adult years completely taken from us. Was the bat really worth it, bro? Was it really that nice? The 2010s and 2000s had much stronger identities than the 2020s. The big question is, what is this decade going to be remembered for? So, if you're anything like me, pretty average, the 2020s have just been a beatdown from life so far, as it probably has been for most people. COVID, housing crises, yes, plural, cost of living increasing, radical ideological division, increasing economic uncertainty, and still no government mandated goth girlfriend despite it being 2025. We have all suffered, just in different ways. 2025 has been so crazy already. Even whilst writing this script, Trump just announced blanket tariffs for every country on the planet except for Russia and North Korea. Since initially writing this script, I have rewritten it and I'm recording it a second time. Trump has announced 145% blanket tariffs on China. 145% tariffs on China. That will trigger the libs by destroying the US economy. Service economy? What the fuck are you talking about? Let's make fabric instead. That finance diploma. To the sewing machine with you. Are we serious? Did he get RFK's brainworm or something? Why is he intentionally trying to crash the global economy and the US economy?
I just want to talk to him.
Literally every single day of this decade so far just gets more and more insane. Just to put into perspective how terrible this decade has been globally, here are a few significant things that have happened in this decade so far. The COVID pandemic. Russia invading mainland Ukraine. Huge AI advancements. Strong political shifts. January 6th. Israel-Palestine escalation. The US economy imploding. And there's a bunch of other things I could name as well, but then the video would go on for too long. I know there will be that one person in the comments, the contrarian, saying something like,
"Well, I'm 26 and since 2020, I made $200,000 and have 8 wives. This decade hasn't been bad at all."
Yeah, congrats bro, you're a complete anomaly, and you're incapable of understanding that your single lucky experience isn't representative of the average experience. In other words, go fuck yourself. I had a comment on one of my videos recently. Some guy saying some utter shit like,
"If quarantine was a bad period of time for you, then it seems you were actually the loser."
What are you talking about? Big dog, did COVID give you brain damage? Was your brain starved of oxygen? Lockdown was unanimously one of the worst periods in human history. Unless somehow you don't depend on any urban areas and live in some remote part of the woods, you probably had a really bad time during lockdown. Like, I understand the arguments as to why you enjoyed lockdown. You had infinite free time, no work, no schedule, etc. But whilst you personally may have been comfy at home, gooning to whatever was popular in 2020, there was also like a catastrophic illness killing millions. Society was on the brink of collapsing, and many people were suffering from being isolated and having their lives completely destroyed. But I guess all of that's fine, as long as you get to wake up at 1 PM every day, roll over and instantly violate a tissue. Vibe shift. Does anyone else feel like the vibes are crazy different now? It's like there's been a filter on life ever since the pandemic. Not like a literal visual filter. Not some generic yellow Mexico type filter, or Britain's depressing grey gloomy one, but like an experience filter. Nothing feels as meaningful, or like it has a clear purpose anymore. I think that every human experiencing such a depressing event made people realise how bleak life can actually be. And people seem to realise, oh shit got real, and started living with increased apathy towards things post-lockdown. Like in the UK, we had strict lockdown restrictions, and anyone who broke them was supposed to be punished with a fine of like £100 upwards. Which is fine, you know. Crazy new illness of unknown severity is everywhere. It made complete sense at the time. Until the literal conservative government at the time were having f***ing parties and drinking together in secret. They just spat in the public's face and clearly showed that they think they're superior compared to the people. It just felt like the pandemic was a real mask-off moment for society, with it exposing how little the average person actually cares about strangers and how quickly people can become radicalized. That made anti-vax actually popular.
And you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I go, no. Are you healthy?
The vibes just straight up changed since the pandemic. There was a huge shift to the internet when lockdowns began, meaning more normal, sane, uncorrupted people fell victim to Instagram and TikTok's
Cilianite or 3000
algorithms and became terminally online degenerates. Notice how internet trends post-COVID increasingly get more and more unhinged. For example, looks maxing was something only the woman-hating incels on the underbelly of the internet spoke about. These places are plagued with racism, sexism, and the most insecure people on the entire planet. It's sad, as most of them are victims in some way to end up hating themselves. They have these imaginary reasons that they aren't attractive, believe in a racial hierarchy, and see women as objects. It's so crazy what being diagnosed with a lack of pussy does to a fella. But in all seriousness, it is sad seeing lonely guys become radicalized so easily, with the pathway always starting with self-betterment in some form. The red pill did so much damage, bro. Not a single person on the planet is seriously hating on men for going to the gym or trying to improve themselves. I promise that does not happen. People hate men who act like animals, you know the ones, the alpha male meatheads. Or treat others badly.
Are you proud of who the f you are? Are you proud? If you look in the mirror, would you guys say this motherfucker's proud of who the f he is? That's a bag of trash, dude.
It's really simple. The radicalization in these incel spaces is so clear. I mean, these people obsess over skull measurements and believe it dictates intelligence. They have a full glossary of incel terms too, explaining their tier beliefs. Picture this, okay? You're having a gay convo with the boys, like we all do from time to time. You say something like, Blade is a pretty soft but handsome guy, and one of your friends starts listing off bone plate measurements and skull shape averages. Let me tell you, that's not too unrealistic now. But like 4 to 5 years ago, you would have been viewed as insane as Elliot Rodgers, the epitome of doom-filled chudjack. I guess what I'm trying to say is that radical views and topics have now been normalized to the point where the average social media user now knows about them. So remember, when your 8-year-old cousin tells you he uses Instagram, be very afraid, as next time you see him, he might be in support of the bald creep Andrew Tate being UK Prime Minister. Sparkling water, the birth party. I am not a sex criminal, sparkling water. Even before this online shift, memes and brain rot weren't anywhere close to being as popular as they are now. This is partly due to TikTok implementing their version of Project 2025 but with memes, and completely reformatting how people consume their dumb internet jokes. But now, you could honestly just approach anyone on the street and say, "Yikin Jackie," and they'd understand and start launching popcorn everywhere. It's just become common for people to be terminally online, and it's clearly damaging to society and at personal levels. The average person understands niche memes and jokes, which in like 2019 and before would not have been acceptable or normal. We live online. Unironically, I think most people spend most of their free time online now. The average daily screen time is 6 hours and 38 minutes, according to a GWI report from 2025, this year, which combined with most of the time being spent consuming Instagram Reels or TikToks. It's fair to say, we are officially cooked. Every dystopian prediction has slowly become true. Soon, all of Black Mirror will happen in real life. Even the episode where they make everyone's mum run on batteries. I don't know, I've never watched it. One of the most significant changes in recent human history is our growing isolation due to technology. Most entertainment and many hobbies are online now, which is great, but it damages real life interactions, which are so much healthier. I don't know, man. It feels kind of unhealthy when I open Instagram to message a friend and end up scrolling reels for 50 minutes. The great Instagram time skip. Sorry if I sound like your parents, but looking at a screen all day, whether working or just relaxing, cannot be healthy. But it's kind of just how life has become now. But at least these changes are easy to counteract. If you actually lift your fat ass up and go touch grass, it's not a problem at all. I like how theoretically, you could actually never leave your house again if you didn't want to. You could work from home, interact online with friends and family, have food delivered, order absolutely anything you need online. Bro, you could actually live your entire life and never need to go outside again. Who the f needs nature when you have Reddit? There's only a couple actual issues that have occurred from everything becoming online. One of them is that people start to consume slop and develop parasocial dynamics with the content they consume. This guy is an example.
Bro, like, you can't really deny it, bro. You know they want Duke, bro. Like, don't be acting like they don't want Duke, though, bro. Like,
Okay,
it's
so
the boy
why
hood,
would
Mr.
they
B.
stop?
It's the boy hood, Mr. Stop. What? You know they want Duke, bro.
Why wouldn't they want Duke when you look like this? Of course they would want him.
Bro,
but
they
look
want
at-
Duke.
30-year-old
No,
man, by
it's
the
like
way.
you trying to
If you're an avid live stream consumer, I have bad news, bro. You're a groupie. You're just a digital groupie. Grown men fangirling over live streamers is forever crazy to me. Another issue is the increasing lack of empathy shown online.
The mighty sun.
Algorithms have learned to push shock content to the average user as it gets high interaction. So it's common to open Instagram and instantly see things like Gaza bombings, literal murder, or OF ads. Scrolling through 10-second videos of my normal feed, then seeing the worst atrocities committed by humans, and then some 19-year-old girl talking about super gooping all over the glizzy on her page is probably desensitizing people to extreme content. This obviously makes people lack empathy more, and it's clear when you see comments online, and young people are trying their hardest to incite generational wars because of the most minor disagreements. Gen Z and Gen Alpha are bullies online, bro. Anyone can get it. Literally anyone is a target. Disabled or dying? Prepare to receive the worst insults you've ever seen from some random 14-year-olds. Because of the desensitization, content becomes more extreme, meaning we end up with people being radicalized from stupid edgy jokes, becoming Save Europe enthusiasts. Do not leave your kids alone on Instagram or TikTok. They will incite the Fourth Reich. I have actually seen countless actual Nazi accounts preaching racism and Christian nationalism completely unironically. Crazy. Call me crazy, but I think it's really bad for society to let young people consume content that will radicalize, desensitize, or brainwash them. Sorry if that's a crazy opinion. Me personally, I would dislike young people being racist or believing that women shouldn't have the same rights.
Who gets hit by their husband? How long until she gets beat again?
But that's just me. Most people are smart enough to see through propaganda and not be swayed by this stupid misinformation online, but clearly, some aren't. Concluding all of this, the 2020s have been a complete mess so far. Most of the world has spent half this decade in lockdown, with most communication being done online. People are being driven apart ideologically through misinformation or radicalization. Every day there is a new political and economic that has nuked my shares. Look at this wasp, man! But things would be getting better had the Orange Goblin with the power to destroy the global economy with a single tweet not been elected. 60% of my audience is American. You guys will forever catch strays about electing Trump. Forever. Thank you for watching. Please go watch my other videos. If you enjoyed one of my videos, you will enjoy them all, I promise. I should be uploading more frequently soon, as it's summer, uni's finished, I have all the free time, so stay tuned. The day of reckoning is coming.
Your 20s are going to be the best years of your life.